Good morning, friends, wherever you are, and welcome to today's Cichlids and Coffee live stream. I'm very glad you're here, and I hope you're having a cup of coffee. Oh yeah, or whatever your favorite beverage might be, depending on the time of where you are. I know some of you are from different parts of the world, and it always gives me a thrill to see folks in different places joining us for the live stream. So let's do some quick hellos to Angelo. Hey, Angelo's in the house. Good morning to you, Angelo. And Sundar. Hello, Sundar. And Cat Sailor in the house. And let's scroll on down. Hey, Paul. Glad you're here, buddy. And Z-Zip in the house. Michael Ordinero in the house as well. Salient Aquatics. Big shout out to all of my moderators who keep the stream family friendly. And by the way, just as a heads up, there is a delivery being made to the house for my oldest son, and so if they happen to knock or ring the doorbell, there's going to be a lot of barking. So or the thing that beagles do, which is a bray, kind of a scream. So if you hear that, don't be alarmed. That's all that it is. And Davey Larson and NJW. Hi from the UK. Hello, NJW. Thank you for joining us from the UK. Love it up your way. And Jeff Hester in the house. And you want to see some fish? You're going to see some fish, Jeff. I'm going to be playing a video. We're going to do that lap of the fish room. And something I hope to add to every one of our live streams. And so you'll be seeing all of the fish. Hey, Frank. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you. And will you be coming, Frank, to Daytona in November for Aquatics? Just curious if you're going to be there. And let's see here. Fish Ranch in the house. Peas and Haps. Country Strong and Free. Love that name. Jay's Aquatic Fun. What a great name. In Wisconsin. How's the weather up there, my friend? We have like a spring conditions here too. And I'm loving it. But it's supposed to get really cold over the next few days. Back into the 20s. Hey, Raul in the house. Good morning, Raul and Tyler. And what is that? Cruise Aquatics. Caught you live again. Very cool. I'm glad you're here. Billy D. All right. Michael Welsh. Boy, we got more and more new names. And Proud by AdWords. Proud by AdWords. Lovely fish. Thank you. Dan Coate in the house. Kent AJDK. If I missed you, it doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means I didn't scroll down enough or scrolled by you too fast or something. But welcome to all of you. I'm glad you're here. Let's go ahead and do the official start of this live stream. How's the AV? Can I get an AV check? Sound and video and lighting, and tell me how it looks. How does it look and how does it sound? I'm trying a different lighting combination. Not sure if I like it entirely. I've got a light coming this way. I've got a light coming this way. And it's lighting me up pretty good, but my eyes are getting burned. I'm getting burned corneas. AV sounds perfect. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. And AV good. AV is grooving. Thank you, Davey. Grooving. All right. So let's see what's been happening here in the fish room. And nothing totally exciting, just the usual, but I'm going to go ahead and share with you a couple changes, and you're going to see them as we go along. I'm having some success with the planted tank, and I'm having success with the harvesting of water sprite out of the 20-gallon tall. You'll see some of that. These guys all seem to be behaving and being okay. Nobody has lost their mind in the last week, and nobody is showing any signs of unusual wear and tear. You know, when you're an African cichlid keeper, you know, you come in the morning and you do a fin check. You know, you look for split fins. You look for any missing scales. You know, you try and see if there's perhaps a brawl in the middle of the night, which sometimes can happen. And I did notice that the bicolor, or maybe it was the Taiwan reef. His tail has a little split and a little nip in it, and so but he's got nothing else going on. If you see some torn up tail, maybe a few scales missing on the side, maybe a mark on the mouth that shows that there's been some lip locking, you know, those are signs that you need to spend more time watching the tank and making sure that the fish are behaving, because murder can be the murder can be swift, and yes, an eye check. Someone mentioned eye check. You always look for the eyes too. The eyes are really a good sign of health. I have one fish in here, of course, as you know, the Otopharynx tetrastigma, who is a one-eyed fish who has come back from near death 3 times. But yes, Michael Welsh, do an eye check. Eye checks. If they're foggy, if they look like they've been, like they have any kind of scar or mark or scoring, like they may have rubbed up against something that scratched them, that can then turn into an infection, which is, I think, what happened with the Otopharynx. I think he rubbed up against maybe an edge of something. Sometimes in the middle of the night, they get startled and they just go. They just fire, and they really can't see where they're going. And if they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, I mean, they can catch an edge of a rock, or they can even catch a point of a plastic plant. It can actually, if it catches them the right way. So just things to look up, you know, to look for when you're keeping African cichlids. A little different from maybe my live bear tank. My live bear tank, I wake up in the morning and I look for the fry. There's a bunch of fry in there, and I make sure that they're still hanging around the sponge filter or underneath the bubble bar at the back, which seems to be where they hide. And now with all that Sprite in there, they're going to have more places to hide, so that's going to be pretty good. But so at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and play this one lap around the fish room for you. And at the end of today's video, I think I'm gonna dump some krill in here. We'll dump some frozen krill and give these big boys a treat. And you can see how the piranha behave here. But let's go ahead and let me see. Let's see if any of you have anything intriguing. Anything intriguing that on the chat here before I jump into the video. Robin Rayner. All right. Robin Rayner in the house. Keith Dewey, burned eyes, not good, Ben. You're right. By the time the live stream's over, I just see a spot on every wall I look at. It goes away eventually. Hey, Raul Sanchez, currently watching. My large Venus keeping everyone in check. As long as they keep them in check, Raul, as long as they keep them in check, with just reminding them that they're dominant, by kind of facing off with them or giving them a quick chase, that's okay. That's okay. I expect that, and you'll see that during the video. You'll see some quick chases, and you'll see some you'll see some assertion, some fish asserting that they're higher up on the pecking order, and you kind of want to see that, because once that gets established, things calm down. Like once, like, okay, you know your place, I know my place, we're okay. It's when that isn't established that you get a lot of problems. Like I used to have look at this eye biter. He's just turning into this gorgeous beast. And I used to have an eye biter and a Venusis. And if you go back a few years on my videos, you'll see that there was a Venusis I used to call Vinny. He was like a 10-inch beast. And he got challenged by the eye biter and actually got bumped for like a week. And then the eye biter and then Vinny kind of came around and said, wait a minute, I weigh twice as much as you, I'm bigger than you, and took the spot back. But here's this eye biter here. Look at the color, the blues and the red on the dorsal and the egg spots. If you can see him on camera, come here, buddy, come over here. There he is, right there. He is just turning into this beautiful, beautiful eye biter. All these fish, of course, are from the Cichlid Shack. And actually, while I'm on the topic, why don't we go ahead and do that? Let's do this week's Shack's Choice before we get into the fish room lap. So this is a little segment that I've added to the live stream where you can add fish to your wish list. So called Shack's Choice, and these are some fish that each week are sent to me by the Shack. He sends me photos, and then we can feature them. And these are just fish that he's picked out as being extra special and that are available, even though they do tend to disappear very quickly. But let's start off with a beautiful Taiwan reef. Check out this one. F1. F1 means its parents are from the lake. So mom and dad were taken from Lake Malawi, and this is an offspring. Look at the color on the anal fin, the blue, that deep red, working its way into blue as it approaches the body. And this photo probably doesn't even do him justice. He was out of the tank in a net, obviously, and so we got some glare on the body and on the dorsal fin, but I'm sure that's a beautiful specimen. Don't forget, you get 15% off on fish orders over $100, or you can choose to get a flat rate on shipping if you use that particular code. But Taiwan reef, one of my favorite fish, and Lethrinops. He has a Lethrinops marginatus redfin. This is a gorgeous fish. I love Lethrinops. I have one in here, a Lethrinops oculatus. Come on up here, buddy. Lethrinops oculatus. He's right back in there. Yeah, they have a very interesting, you can see they're not really built for battle. They're not really aggressive. If you wanted to create a tank with maybe some less aggressive fish, I would say Lethrinops and maybe some Plastodicromis, fish like that, kind of a combination. Both of them are beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and a little bit less, less aggressive. But the Lethrinops, you can see the way the head is slanted down. They kind of tells you a little bit about them. They love to go through the substrate. They're always working the substrate. Maybe not as much as a sand diver, but they like this guy here. He's just a sand digging maniac, but they're always sifting, a little bit like a geo. This one is 4 to 5 inches and going for about $65. And let's see what we have next on Shack's Choice. We have a turquoise hap. This one is 6.5 to 7 inches. Now, some of you not familiar with cichlids, African cichlids, might look at this and go, "Whoa, $75 for a fish." But it took quite a while to get this fish to 6.5 to 7 inches. And think about all the things that could happen, right? The ones that die off, the ones that don't make it, the ones that were not that colorful. There's a whole bunch of factors to end up with a fish that is 6.5 to 7 inches. So that's a beautiful fish. and turquoise hap. I think I have one in here somewhere. There he is. He's back there. And this one actually is a little bit more spectacular than the one I have, but mine is back in there in the middle. But turquoise hap, beautiful fish, and put them on that wish list. Let's see what else we got here for you. He's got an OB. This is a really interesting OB. The colors on this OB, the green and orange combination with the black splotches, absolutely beautiful. And then the deep blue in the face. And I was really impressed by this OB. I thought it might even have had something else mixed in with it. But you've got the orange the pectoral fins. I'm sure when that dorsal fin is spread out, it's beautiful. You've got almost a translucent tail with some orange spots on it and black streaks at the bottom. Just a beautiful fish. And again, 5 to 6 inches and $64.99. Beautiful OB. As far as OBs go, that's a gorgeous fish. I don't have any OBs currently. And the last fish on Shaq's Choice is a big spot. This is a beautiful, very popular hap, but you know and I know that at your local fish store, your chances of getting a hold of some of these fish is probably slim to none, unless you have an exceptional African cichlid shop in your neighborhood. But here's a big spot, and just a gorgeous fish. I'm going to be adding a big spot here at some point. The closest thing I have to a big spot right now is an insignis, which is also a very beautiful fish. There he is. That's an insignis. It's pushing about 7-8 inches. So it takes quite a while, maybe a couple years, to get a fish to that size. And, you can buy them young for a lot less and grow them out if they all make it, and if they turn out to be males, and if they turn out to be spectacular males, or if you're impatient, you can just jump on and grab a big one like this, which is what I've ended up doing once I got settled here in Tennessee. I used to grow them out. I used to spend a lot of time growing them out, and I think I just lost my patience. After a couple eye biters and sand divers that turned out to be female, plus, it's really helped to have the Cichlid Shack as a sponsor of the channel. So there's Cichlid's Choice for this week. And check them out at thecichlidshack.com. All right. So, as promised, let's go ahead and take one lap of the fish room. And so I made this video especially for today's live stream. I might post it later on the weekend as a standalone video. And let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, in today's lap of the fish room, we'll start with the planted community tank. The plants are actually not melting back the way I thought they would. So they're turning out to be very hardy. I do have some root tabs in there, as well as some of the Easy Green liquid. And it seems to be helping everything to stay healthy and green. Fish seem to be thriving and enjoying the benefits of having live plants in the tank. Nothing new to report on the 90-gallon. Everybody in here seems to be doing well. The red shoulder was going after this red shoulder severum. For some reason was going after this gold severum. Not sure why. You know, sometimes those little switches flip in the head of cichlids, and fish in general, and you don't know what triggers it, but seems to have calmed down a little bit. If the red shoulder continues to assert himself very strongly, I'll probably move him to the 210, see how he hangs with the big boys, and probably take this green tear over there as well. He's getting some beautiful markings, nice trailing dorsal fin. Beautiful fish. What do you think? You think that's a male or a female? Let's take a look at the 210 gallon. Oscars are hanging out as usual. And the two rusties, I call them rusties, but they're actually chocolate. They remind me of rust a little bit in their color, but they're chocolate cichlids. Oscars are camera hogs. Firemouth trying to face off with that Nicaragua. Jack Dempsey there guarding his rock. Here comes the Salvini. Big Vieja. Nobody messes with the big Vieja. Got a little bit of sunlight coming in through the blinds. You can see it on the face and the body of the Vieja. Let's go over to the 300 gallon African cichlid tank. Everybody in here seems to be doing well. Buccochromis spectabilis, very underrated fish. One of my favorites, actually. A lot more mellow than the Buccochromis rhodesiae yellow. Put a little more light in there. These tanks all just went through some cleaning. This is turning out to be a very hardy eye biter. Maybe one of the best looking eye biters I've ever had. I've had several of them in the past where they would never really fatten up. Their bellies would always look a little bit sunken. And despite parasite treatments and things, it just wouldn't make a difference. Crazy trout. Sand diver is just on fire here. Just a beautiful fish. Let me see if he'll show us his profile. Yep, there he is. Just a gorgeous fish. Autopharynx tetrastigma continues to survive well, despite being a one-eyed jack. Let's take a look at the betta tank. This is the betta duplex. Got this little red velvet betta here, and I love the way his tail just sort of becomes translucent as you get to the end of it. It becomes see-through with a little black edge to it. Very pretty. And sharing the duplex is this little candy-colored betta. I'm feeding him once a day. And the food can sometimes be the Sarah betta food, sometimes the Northfin betta pellets. So I just sort of vary it. I also have some betta bug bites. Here's a gold lyre tail harem. We've got one male and 3 females I was able to pick up. So let's see how they all get along in there, and then I'll transfer them over to this tank here. This tank is loaded with babies. They hang out underneath that little bar at the back and also around the sponge filter. There's probably maybe 8 or 9. I've been able to harvest some of the water sprite, cutting pieces. You can see right there where it was cut, cutting pieces that were showing good root growth, and then dropping those pieces into either the betta tank or the 55-gallon planted community tank. Nothing to report on the hospital tank, quarantine tank. The neons don't seem to be doing well for me in that tank. As a matter of fact, I took a couple of them back to the critter, and they gave me credit. And that's how I was able to get those lyre tails. For some reason, the neons I picked up there haven't done well. The 5 neons I have in here that are thriving were actually, believe it or not, picked up, I believe, at either Petco or PetSmart here locally. And they've turned out to be some pretty hardy neons. Same with the rasboras. Rasboras were picked up at a Petco, PetSmart. I've got 2 of them across the street from each other, a Petco and a PetSmart, a few miles from here. So there's the this week's lap of the fish room. You're listening to the mellow jazz sounds of Cichlid 101 on your radio dial. Someone said the music sounded like Peanuts. Is that... Peanuts at Thanksgiving, somebody said the music. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and that gives you a complete update on what's going on. I am going to run out and grab some more neons. I found some at a local fish store here that are looking really hardy at about $2.50 a piece. So I'm going to go grab another 5. I want between 5 and 10 neons in the 55. I just love the way they school, and I really do think they are an underrated fish. That red-blue combination is just lovely. So, let's see what you have to say, my friends. Let's take a look at the chat. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up and down. Sean says, a Charlie Brown Christmas. Do you want me to use rock? I can use rock. I have some rock tunes I can drop in there. I can go with no music at all. You tell me what you like. And I've even got some hip hop that I can drop in there. There's a lot of music choices. I use a company called Epidemic Sound, and what they do is they allow you to use music without worrying about copyright infringement, which if YouTube hits you with copyright infringement, your video gets taken down or demonetized, and if it happens, I think 2 or 3 times, I think, your channel disappears. They take your channel down. So it's a serious matter. All right, let's take a look here at the chat. I am scrolling the chat. I see 115 people on the stream. Is that true? I appreciate all of you. Lady Rorschach? Now, is that Rorschach like on the TV show Rorschach, or is that Rorschach those images that they show you during a psych consult to see what's on your mind? All right. And let's see here. Mount up, let's go. All right. I am scrolling the chat. Ken AJDK recommend listening to Ben talking while feeding your tanks. All right. And I am scrolling and scrolling. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them now. I'll be happy to answer them. Denny Riddell. Hey, Dennis. One of the moderators on the stream here. It looks like he's got a lot of fry going on. You have to grow those out, Denny. You're going to need some grow-out tanks. You're going to need you should get a hold of some grow-out tanks. Even though I've heard the shell dwellers are good to their fry, they don't hunt them down and eat them, right? Carlos Munoz, live, love, laugh. Love that name. Hate to hear that, Carlos. Looks like he had a Oscar jump out of the tank. Last time I had a jumper was one of the large geos, and it happened right in front of me. I was fortunate to be able to get him and put him back in real quick. But man, oh man, it's I hate to find fish dried out. Before that, I did lose my my Plastidochromys johnsoni. Beautiful fish. Was giving him a break in an 8-gallon tank because he was getting chased and beat up a little bit. So I took him out so he could recover, and he jumped out. So DJ says do not change the music. I love it. Okay, there you go. That's a strong endorsement. JP, I was told snails' eggs don't what? Snatch? Don't hatch is probably in fresh water. I have so many, don't know what to do. What? You know, you might want to get maybe a type of fish that might eat those. JD? Is that JD? Maybe there's some fish that can eat those snails. Clown loaches are really good with snails. If you want to cut back the number of snails. And Anthony says, I have a red zebra. It only chases the 2 electric blue acaras. He is getting on my last nerve. Yeah. You got to make a choice there. You're going to have to make a call, because once you start to see damage on the blue acaras, then the blue acaras get weaker. The stress makes them more prone to disease. It's just a dwindling spiral. It can go down real quick. Let's see here. Brian Park, hey Ben, have you ever used Seachem concentrated dry water conditioner? What are your thoughts and what do you use? Brian, that's all I use. If you're talking about Seachem, they have the powder, and for any tank over 100 gallons, I use Seachem Safe. What is it? I think it's a third of a teaspoon. A third of a teaspoon will condition this in the 300 gallons, and then and then 2/4 of that, right, or 2/3 of that will then condition the 200. I mean, you use a minuscule amount. A small container will last you, 5 years, and so it is a real good deal. And so on my large tanks, Seachem Safe exclusively. On the smaller tanks, I've been using Fritz Complete. Even though Seachem Prime, I used it for years and years and years and loved it. It was a good product. So both those products I think are great products. JD, Nerite snails are the only ones that don't hatch in fresh water. Also cut back feeding. Okay, so there you go, JD. Jerry's got some advice. I didn't know that about Nerite. I have a Nerite in that 20 gallon, so I guess I will not be expecting babies there. Denny Rudell asking for some thumbs up. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate that. And Billy D, assassin snails can help some. I guess by the name they kill and other snails. Is that what that means? I've seen pictures of them. They're very pretty. And Brian, the way I add it is when I'm refilling the tank, I'll add I'll just fill up a cup with some tank water and dissolve a third of a teaspoon, and then just add it right to the tank, and then put the hose in right from the tap and add the temperature matched water, and so it's a very direct process. And I don't add it gradually. I don't add a little bit to a bucket of 5 gallon. I don't do any of that. I just dump the entire amount. I dose for the entire amount of the tank, because that's what they recommend when you go from tap to tank. They recommend you go from, you dose for the entire volume. So I'll dose for all 300 gallons, even though I'm only doing maybe a 30% water change, maybe 40 max. If I've got something going on, let's say that one of the fish does have a foggy eye or something going on, I'll go ahead and do an 80% water change, but that's very rare, and that's a lot of water. So I'll drain the tank using the FX6 to pump water out, and then I'll go ahead and make sure that the hot water heater is fully recovered, and no one else in the house is doing dishes, using the dishwasher or the washing machine or anything, or taking hot showers. Because when 200 gallons of hot water for a 2/3 water change, I mean, that you're gonna be using a lot of warm water, so you just got to really watch it. You don't want to run out of hot water in the middle of filling up your tank and hit them with cold water. Jerry loves assassin snails, and they breed as well, although much better looking. Yeah, they are a good looking snail. I'm in love with the pagoda snails, and one pagoda snail will make you a bunch of pagoda snails. And I just love I've got one I call Big Mama, and now I have about 20, maybe 20 pagoda snails. A group of pagoda snails survived in the 29 gallon when it went up to 95 degrees, when that cobalt heater went crazy and killed my red spotted severum that was in there. The snails, the pagoda snails survived somehow, so I was kind of surprised by that. So they're pretty hardy creatures. All right, any more questions, ask them in the chat. I am going through here. By the way, if you have any questions for James Largo, it looks like he is on the stream. So if you have any questions about the Cichlid Shack and getting deliveries from the Cichlid Shack, go ahead and ask them now, because he is on. It looks like he was on the live stream. All right. I am still cruising the chat, even though I've gone to full screen. And I'm willing to answer your questions. GP, you say get 25 more. Are you talking about neons? 25 more neons? Sean loves the jazz piano theme. All right. I like it. Brian wants dubstep. I don't know if I can find dubstep, Brian. Sean, who doesn't love the Peanuts? Are Peanuts still popular? Angelo recommends little Aussie. You know, Aussie would be cool, but I think that would demonetize. That would give me a copyright violation. There are some artists like Led Zeppelin, the Eagles, Jimi Hendrix, Michael Jackson. I mean, there's some that are instant. You play like 10 notes, and your video is going to get demonetized, and you're going to get a copyright notice from YouTube. All right, I am going through here. And Denny reminded me that we do have a way to support the channel that I forgot to mention, and that is the Patreon program. And a big shout out to the Patreon members. These are folks who commit to a monthly amount, as little as $3. It goes up from there. It's as much as you want, really, but $3 is the starting, is an unavailable amount. And what that does is it allows me to build up a sort of a war chest that I can then tap into to make runs to the fish store, to do some experiments, to go off to Aquashella, to acquire supplies, things of that nature. And so for those of you who would like to really support continued content creation, consider becoming a member of the Garage Gang, the Patreon membership. And thank you, Denny, for reminding me of that. I had completely forgot to mention it. You can also support the channel by using the Amazon link, which is amazon.com/shop/Ben Ochart. If you use that to access Amazon, whether you buy something from my store or from anywhere on Amazon, you will actually give a small credit back to the channel, and it doesn't increase your prices on Amazon. And also, if you buy swag, coffee cups, t-shirts, hoodies at the Teespring store, that also supports the channel. So lots of ways to support the channel. You just being here actually and giving the thing a thumbs up, that also is a strong support. Lawrence Raditz, I put a pre-filter on my Fluval 307 45 days ago, and my filter still looks clean. I clean the pre-filter once every 2 weeks. Very cool. Yeah, I'm a you know me, I'm a pre-filter fiend now. I mean, I love them. I'm going to probably use some leftover Swiss tropical sponges and make a pre-filter for the hang-on back filters. The Marineland, and I have 3 Marinelands running right now, and I'm probably going to cut some. All you do is you just cut a block, and then just cut a sliver in it, and it'll fit right over the intake. And I think it looks just as good as the grill, and it'll catch. One of the things I like the most about pre-filters is they catch food, and that way the fish come around, they peck it off the filter, or snails get on there and they clean it up, and so it's just a little bit more economical. If you're using expensive food, it's actually a good way to go. Hey, Davey Larson comes through with a super chat, another way to support the channel that I forgot to mention. So, Davey, thank you for that. I appreciate that. You can super chat over at the bottom of the chat is where you can super chat and you can throw a little dough at the chat. All right. Country strong and free, most feature-rich free video editor I know of. Are you? Let me see here. I use a free version. Blah 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 blah. You're talking about? Are you talking about someone's going to be starting a channel here and they want information on free or 300? You must be talking about DaVinci. Are you talking about DaVinci? DaVinci Resolve. Yep, there you go. Okay, yeah, DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is the video editing software that I am transitioning to. I am currently using Vegas Pro. I don't recommend it. It has too many crash issues if you get into some very big files. But DaVinci is a standard in the industry. And it's actually used on major motion picture productions, especially in the area of color correction. All right. Any other comments or questions? I am at your disposal as long as they are fish related. Anybody here going to Aquashella in Daytona in November? Let me know. Be sure to come by and see me. Did I miss a super chat? I don't think so. No, I didn't. Okay. Country, strong and free. I love DaVinci Resolve. I want to get the paid version. The paid version would be, I think, if you were going to be doing actual, like you're in the video editing sales and you're doing like you want motion picture quality type production. But the good thing about DaVinci, unlike Adobe, is your fee is a one-time fee, and that continues to upgrade and update. Whereas Adobe, you have to re-up, I think, every year, and it's a pretty hefty amount. So, for a variety of reasons, DaVinci Resolve is the way to go. Miguel, you're going to Daytona. Awesome. Be sure to come by the YouTube booth area. I'll be walking around a lot like I always am, getting footage so I can then put out my best of Aquashella video. But I will be hanging around the YouTuber area. And I'm saving up some of that some of that money from the Patreon. I think a flight from as close as Nashville is to Daytona, relatively speaking, the flights are coming in at about $500 for round trip. So, and then you add the $200 to $300 a night, right, for the hotel and meals, Ubers, and you end up. It's going to be probably all said and done, probably about $1,500 to be there for 4 days. So, at any rate, I was kind of glad when I heard that it wasn't going to be in February, because that gives me more time to build up the revenue. No Aquashella in Chicago. I didn't know that. I wonder why that is. Carlos, that happened to me on my FX6. I opened it up and I decided, you know what, this is going to run 9 months. And 9 months is when I'm going to be running the Sun too. Both of them with the pre-filter are now running 9 months. And I had one person comment under one of the videos. They commented how they were avoiding canisters because of all of they seem so bulky and like a lot of hard work. But then when they realized that with the pre-filter they could possibly go 9 months, they said, oh, wait a minute, that changes everything with regards to a canister. And it really does. It is a game changer. And Angelo comes in with a super chat. Thank you, Angelo. I appreciate that, my friend. March 3rd will be 1 year. I started an African cichlid tank If it wasn't for you, Ben, don't think I could have done it. Thanks so much. You are welcome, my friend. God, I love hearing stories like that, you know, and I hear, I just love that kind of feedback where people tell me they left the hobby, started watching the videos, got back in, and now they're having a lot of success, or they've gone back into, or up, you know, got into a bigger cichlid tank and it's been successful. Anyway, I just love that kind of feedback. Thank you, Angelo. Very appreciated. All right, let's see here. Carlos, Cat Sailor says, I'm going almost 2 years with my FX6. Everything is still good. Wow. Shoulder surgery. I get it. That's one thing about an FX6. That is one heavy can. But I tell you, at least it has handles. Trying to move a big Sun 704, you've got to grab it by the corners and kind of wrestle it out, especially if you have these kinds of aquarium stands that have the removable doors. So you got to get it over that bottom lip. You know, it's just kind of a pain in the butt. But that being said, I use the tubs. I use the Rubbermaid tubs, right, to keep the canisters in. So I tilt the tub, and then the tub then serves as a ramp to slip the canister out. So those tubs have a double purpose. And remember, when you use canister filters, my top tips on canister filters: put them on a pad. Be sure to keep your O-rings lubricated. Put them in a Rubbermaid container. Put a Watchdog water sensor in the Rubbermaid in case you ever have a leak. And don't overstuff your baskets. And I tell you, you follow those tips and you'll have a completely quiet, long-running canister, whether it's a Sun, an Eheim, Fluval, doesn't matter. Follow those tips, and I'll tell you, your canisters will run forever. So they're still working. You're saying, Michael, they're still working on possibly scheduling Chicago for Aquashella? Could be. I think they had some problems with scheduling the hotel in Orlando. They couldn't come to an agreement on it, is what I understand. I mean, I don't know the details. I'm not, necessarily communicating with the coordinators of it. All right. I didn't realize that Fritz was involved in the ownership of Aquashella. That's interesting. Brian Park, do blue bioballs do the same submerged in water as they do when water trickles over them? They are designed for the trickle type. You always see them with the trickle type sump systems, and so I think that is where they're the strongest. But I think you'd be better off with just regular bioballs. I love those inexpensive CZ, Charlie Zebra, CZ bioballs that have a little bit of sponge in the middle of them. I think that's the best of all worlds if you're going to go that route. I have used blue balls before, and it created so many jokes on the internet about my blue balls that I decided to stop using. I think I gave them away to somebody. But I have a whole bag of blue balls now that I'm not using. They came with a sump from my friend here in Nashville, so I might use them again. But now, that being said, anything in your filter, whether it's blue balls, CZ bio balls with sponge in the middle, which you can find at my Amazon store, by the way. Anything you put in there that has surface area is going to actually house beneficial bacteria. The question is how much surface area, and at the end of the day, if there isn't enough room on the surface area of your biomedia, and yet you're feeding enough and have enough bioload to keep more beneficial bacteria alive, it's going to go live elsewhere. It's going to populate the substrate, the decor, the walls of the tank. It's going to go everywhere. So eventually you're going to have all of the bio, the beneficial bacteria. You're going to have it. You're going to have as much as you're going to have. Now, some people make a case with something like, let's say, a biohome or a matrix. Some people make a case that you're going to have the inside of that biomedia is going to be a low flow area and actually start to allow anaerobic bacteria to grow. That will convert nitrate, right? Allow nitrate to gas off. And I don't know if that's true or not, but there is, some people make a case for the harder type of, whether you're talking matrix, biohome, products like that. Even some broken up lava rock is going to give you some deep crevices that perhaps some anaerobic bacteria can start to get in there. Now, another school of thought thinks that eventually you're going to get film, a biofilm or a mulm that's going to cover all of your biomedia, and so there isn't going to be much growing deep inside of it. So you get a lot of different ideas. So go with what you think you want to go with. Test your water, and eventually your tank is going to become a stable tank, as Corey once mentioned. Even if you have gym socks in your filter, eventually it's going to stabilize. You're going to have a stable environment. Hey Frank, does that mean you're coming to Daytona, my friend? Sería un gran placer verte en Daytona, Frank. So déjame saber si vas a estar ahí, amigo. And thank you for that super chat, my friend. All right, let's see here. Any more comments or questions? So it looks like John Hudson is back into live streaming. I mean, we had that one live stream where he was going to stop live streaming, and then I guess he's back. I've got to check that one out. Mr. Kevin, KJ 2002, Daytona is going to be 90,000 square foot building compared to Dallas 60,000. Wow. Wow. Okay. I make sure I get my. I gotta make sure I got my walking shoes, my comfortable walking shoes. All right. Let's see here. BRS did a lab study and proved that ceramic media doesn't denitrify. Desert Fish Keeper. Very cool. Okay. I mean, I wasn't aware of that. Desert Fish Keeper, if you could send me a link to that, I'd love to see it. Send the link to ben.o.cichlid, ben.o.cichlid@gmail.com. I would love to see that BRS lab study, because I know other folks have, with large amounts of media like biohome. Like if you just do a biohome denitrify, you'll come up with a couple videos of folks saying, yes, my nitrates went down to nothing. Of course, you got to keep in mind all the factors: your bioload, number of water changes, how often, how much you're feeding, things of this nature. A lot of moving parts, right? Frank Vera, SS El Plan. All right. Hope to see you there, my friend. It was a pleasure seeing you at the last Aquashella. All right, let's see. Cichlid Kings. Okay, so he was having trouble with the with being able to live stream. I think he was using the some of the SpaceX, some of the satellite, Elon Musk satellite system internet service. Yeah, he's out there in the boonies. He's out there off the beaten path. I'm very fortunate that I have a very strong signal here. I can't blame the I can't blame my carrier when things mess up. I can only blame myself. Unless we're having a bad storm. Salient Aquatics found, looks like a baby. Are you saying a baby? Oh, playing in my 50. Okay, looks like you had now you're trying to say a baby pleco or a baby playing in my 55-gallon platy. Oh, okay. Wow, very cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not intentionally breeding, and I'm letting nature sort of take its course with these little babies. I've got 3 or 4 that are already good size, are not going to get eaten. But I'm not trying to be a breeder, but I love it when I see them. I love it when I see them. And it's also a sign, I think, that the tank has a certain level of health when you're seeing the fry show up. It means your water quality, it means your parameters are, because I think bad parameters usually mean no breeding. Rio Oliveros, first time on your show. How many, let me see here. How many can I put in a 75-gallon? I think you're asking. Let me see here. How many peacock cichlids can I have in a 75-gallon? Boy, isn't that the question that almost killed John Hudson? Now, Rio, you've got a lot of moving parts. Remember, it's a fluid situation. How often are you going to clean? How many filters do you have on that tank? Right? There's a lot of different moving parts. So look at how big the fish are going to get over time. So even if we nail it down, it's going to change over time because the fish are putting on size and you have to feed more. So I would say start off with between 10 and 15 peacocks, because you also have to spread out the aggression. Have at least 2 filters on there, maybe a hang-on back and a canister, maybe 2 canisters. And have the filter set up so that you could take one off when you go to the 125. You're gonna want to get into an aquarium that is 6 feet across. So, but a 75, if you buy them small and grow them out, a 75 will hold you for a couple years. But then you're going to want to get into as you find more fish that you want to add, right? You want to add a couple Synodontis cats. You put a couple, bushy nose plecos in there, maybe 15 peacocks. You're going to want a 125. So you have a lot of moving parts, but I would say 10 to 15 at least. Maybe throw a couple Synodontis cats in there, a couple bushy nose plecos, and you'll be in good shape for a while. When they put on size, as they grow, you're going to have to shorten the amount of time between maintenance. Maybe start off with every other week when they're small, every other week water change, and then eventually go to a weekly water change. Test the water as you go. But again, it's a fluid situation, lots of moving parts, and I suggest several filters, backup filters. If one fails, the other one keeps running. One keeps running while you service the other one, and also you can take one off and put it onto a new tank to help you with an instant cycle. So, at any rate, that's my 2 cents for now. That might change by next week. Nikhil Kar, I hope I'm not mispronouncing that horribly, but hello to you in India. What made you work on a planted community tank? Uh, I was inspired by several folks out there, right? Like MD Fishkeeper. There's some folks out there that just do these beautiful scapes, and I just loved it. I love the idea of plants helping with filtration. For years, I couldn't keep plants because I was keeping African cichlids, and I did a plant experiment with African cichlids, and they were fine when they were small. When the fish were small, it was okay, but when they put on size, they just tore the plants apart. They tore the anubias. They're supposed to not like anubias. Oh, anubias is supposed to be bitter. But here's what happens. They bite the anubias and they spit it out. Oh, that's bitter. Oh, look, a plant. They bite it. Oh, that's bitter. And they spit it out. Oh, look, a plant. And they're like, they're like Dory, right? And they have no memory. So they just they just tore. I had over $100 in beautiful anubias, from petite all the way out to giant anubias. And they turned into a bunch of floating shredded pieces of plant. So finally, with community fish, I have a chance at having live plants that can do some of the filtration work for me. And so that's working well. So that was my inspiration. Plus watching fish keepers like MD Fishkeeper. I'm looking at the planted tank as we speak, and I'm loving it. I love the green. I love the green in the tank. And, I love the elite cichlids artificial plants like this one. But they don't compare to a real alive plant. I hope that answered your question. All right, I am scrolling the chat. Yeah, GP is in my live bearer tank. I have 3 females for every 1 male. If you just have 1 female, the male just runs the female into complete exhaustion. I mean, I'm looking at the live bearer tank from here, and the gold, the Mickey Mouse platies. That male never stops. He never stops. And so, you could bottle that. I mean, you'd have a turbocharged Viagra that would make it impossible for men to go out in public. So he's just relentless. So if there was just 1 female in there, it would be horrible. Now, the babies that are growing up, some of those babies might be males, so the ratio is gonna change as soon as they hit breeding age. So we'll see what happens, because all those babies I have in there are Mickey Mouse platies. And the water sprite is going to help some of them survive when I get a lot of water sprite floating in there. That's a perfect place for babies to hide. Rio, thanks, Ben. I'll be running 2 Penguin 400, Fluval 407, 75-gallon Mabuna tank for 5 years now. Awesome. Very, very cool. Yeah, you've been running that tank 5 years, Rio. You know the deal. You know the deal. I am cruising the chat. Anybody know some fish stores in Colorado? I'm assuming you're going to be in the Denver area, K-Stu. Anybody know some good fish stores in Colorado that K-Stu can visit while he's up there? You know, I'm so blessed because when we travel, my wife always knows I'm going to hit a fish store. And she's totally cool with it. She's completely chill with it. She's like, okay, now, we're going to North Carolina. What day do you want to go fish store hunting? So I'm really blessed. And she just said, go, have a good time, film it. I think she knows that these fish room tours are popular videos, so she lets me run. So, hey, I'm 11 minutes over the hour. What the heck is happening here? 115 people on. And I'm out of coffee. So, all right, folks. Thank you so much to everybody. You are the best. Big shout out to my wonderful moderators, to all of you who are here today, to all of you who subscribed, to my wonderful Patreon Garage Gang members, to the Cichlid Shack for their sponsorship, to Aquarium Co-op for all their help on this planted project. And you folks rock. You folks rock, my friends. And I appreciate you being here. And with that being said, I think we are going to end off on this live stream. And let me see. Someone took a bite out of your eye biter, Ben? Was that a little nibble that you saw during the live stream? Hey, you know what? I promised that I would feed him. Let me go and give him a little krill so you can see me feed him. Hey, get ready. Woo! And just like that, the krill is gone. What was that? Half a second? That was a whole cup of krill. Where is it? Some of these fish have 2 or 3 in their mouth. I know it. Anyway. Incredible. All right. There you have it. Let's end off with that piranha feeding. And thank you, my friends. You are the best. And I will see you next week. Same time. And let's go ahead and end off. If I can find the right way to end off here. Oh, well, maybe I'll just stay on. Maybe we'll keep... All right, here it is. Bye, my friends. I'll see you next week.